When you go to county in any major city in America where there's gangbanging, you have to fight. We call it the fade. And anybody who wants to stay on mainline has to fade right away. If you don't fight, you will get kicked off general population and you'll have to go either to an isolation cell, go to the hole, or get put in PC, protective custody with the child molesters. My first fade came that morning. I was in line to get breakfast and I had my little breakfast tray. And it's slop, obviously. The only thing that's good to eat is a cinnamon roll that they give me. So I sit down with a group of strangers, junkies, you know, fucking dirty white boys, shaved heads, tattoos all over their bodies. And I'm about to fork my cinnamon roll and I'm starving. I haven't eaten for like a day since I was arrested. So my mouth was watering for this fucking cinnamon roll. And as soon as I go to take a bite, this giant fucking white rhino guy with a shaved head comes by and spears the cinnamon roll with his own fork, puts it on his tray, and he calls me a punk, and he walks away. And that's called getting punked out. Getting punked out in jail or prison is getting humiliated publicly in front of everybody. To be made to be a punk. Being a punk is the lowest form of human in the joint. That's the trigger word. Those are fighting words. So as soon as this guy came by, grabbed my fucking cinnamon roll and said, punk, called me a punk motherfucker and walked away, I had to address it right then and there. And I look over at the guys who were sitting at the table with me and they just shook their heads, picked up their trays, got up and walked away. And to not have addressed that would have been like co-signing it. It's like getting bullied and not standing up to your bully. And that just opens yourself up to all kinds of victimization, especially when people see that. They're like, okay, he can be punked. So they could come extort me, beat me down, whatever the fuck. But at the time, I didn't know how serious the punk jacket was. I was just fucking pissed off because I wanted that cinnamon roll so badly. So we finish eating, and the whole time I'm getting snickered at by the other tables. You know, I feel like the dorky kid that's at a new high school who just got bullied by the jocks. And as we're standing up to head back to our cells, this big black guy kind of walks up behind me and goes, hey, you better go see about that. And I was like, what? He was like, you need to go fight that motherfucker, like, now. And it hit me. I'm like, of course, right? So I walked straight up to this dude, this big, burly, bald-headed white guy with a Nazi lightning bolt on the side of his neck. And I was like, let's fucking go. Let's throw down. And he was like, oh, yeah. And later I realized that it was that guy's first day in jail, too. So he knew that he needed to fight to get his respect. So that's why he had punked me out, to test me. So this was a battle for both of our respect at this point. So then this guy walks over to the guard, the CO, who's sitting in his guard booth where he can see the entire cell block in front of him. And he whispers something to him and the guard nods at him. And then the guy walks back to me and goes, meet me in the bathroom after line movement. And I said, okay. And that's how a lot of the fights in jail are organized. It's like a schoolyard fight. Hey, meet me on the playground at 3:00, motherfucker. That's kind of how it's done. So I go back into my cell and I wait for the next line movement, which again, if you remember, if you've seen the earlier episodes, that's when the doors open and inmates are able to go in and out and use the phone, go to the day room, etc. So now I got 2 hours or so to sit in my cell, get ready for the fight. I'm scared out of my fucking mind. I don't want to break a fucking knuckle on this guy's face. I'm worried about my teeth, you know, my beautiful little fucking features. It's a vanity thing with me. I did not want to lose teeth or get my nose even more crooked than it already is naturally. I was fucking worried. I also had no footwear. When you first go to jail, you don't have any shoes. They give you plastic sandals. And plus, this guy had like 30 pounds on me. I mean, he had done time. He had real prison strength. He was chiseled and he was probably 6'1", 6'2". So I knew my only advantage was surprise and reach. I'm 6'6". So I thought if I could catch him with a hard right straight out of the gate, then that would open him up and give me time to, I don't know, get some body blows. Who knows what the fuck? I was just going to wing it. I just knew that I had to cripple him as hard as I could with the first punch. That's always how I've taken street fights, is make sure to just drop them with one hit. So a couple hours go by, the doors open, now it's time for line movement. Here we go. And in the day room, you could feel that palpable energy. Whenever there's about to be violence in prison or jail, everybody kind of knows whether there's going to be a stabbing or a fight or a riot. I don't know, it's the energy in the air. Everybody's a lot quieter and people still go about their business trying to act like nothing's wrong, but they know some shit's about to pop off. So in the corner of my eye, I can see this guy heading for the bathroom, but I know that I have to beat him there if I got any chance of making this a fair fight. So I book it over to the bathroom and I see the guard. He gets up, turns, and walks off the cell block. And I'm like, wow, this is like out of the movies. This is about to be a real jail fight. And I beat this guy to the bathroom by like 5 steps. That's it. And as soon as I walked in, there's a blind spot just to the right of the door. I got in position. I took a roll of toilet paper that I'd smuggled from my cell out of my shirt and I wrapped my right fist with it. And as soon as this guy walked in, I hit him as hard as I've ever hit anyone in the side of his temple. And I knocked this dude over, boom. And he falls against the urinal and he kind of opens himself up. And I took my big, long, skinny leg and I just put it in the middle of his chest and it dropped him. And I go over and I jumped on him, started kicking him, punching him. He reaches over, even as I'm on top of him, and he hit me twice as hard as I hit him. And I go sprawling. So now we're both on our feet, squared up, having a one-on-one fade, and we start trading blows. The problem is his blows are like twice as hard as mine. And I'm telling you, he's using my head as a punching bag at this point. I look like Stallone in Rocky 1 when he's about to go down. And the toilet paper roll is falling off my hand, so it's just fists. And I'm able to find a little room, and I gave him one right under his fucking eye, and it just starts swelling his eye up, but it also felt like it had broken my hand. And that's why I had wrapped my hand with toilet paper in the first place, because I knew I probably would have broken my hand against this fucking Neanderthal's face. It lasted for maybe a minute, but a minute in a street fight takes forever. So by the time the guard did run in and break it up, we were grateful. I was sweating bullets. I was panting. It felt like I was about to have a heart attack. And he yells, "Hey, enough! Get against the wall." He looks at our faces. He makes sure that nobody has to go down to medical. And he just sends us back to our cells. He didn't even take us to the hole. And that's because he knew that this was not a fight over beef. This was just what happens when you go to county. This is a fade. And I got in a bunch of fights like that while I was in county, and they were all over punk checks. You know, dudes would see me, this skinny dude, not gang affiliated, and they would try to test me. And a few times I probably didn't even need to get in the fights, but I would do it just so they would send me to the hole and I could get some time alone, away from the cell block and all of the madness, so I could jerk off in peace and just sleep for a couple of days. You guys, if you like that clip, make sure to check out the full episode right here and subscribe to the channel right here.